Hello, everybody. Ian Barkin back again with you for another episode of OneTAKE Live. Thank you so much for joining. Happy New Year. And let's get right into it. If you have joined us before, you know the deal. Let us know that you're here. Put your name in the text box. Stay alert and awake and share your questions with us. And I will aspire to divert my attention and read those questions to my next guest, who I'm thrilled to have join us. And so without further ado, I want to welcome onto OneTAKE, Kit Cox. Kit, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ian. Lovely to see you. Really good to be with you.
It is great to have you. Okay, so Kit, I'm going to jump right in. You were so sweet to post a message on your LinkedIn about us about to have the discussion. I posted one as well. Did a lot of research to prepare for this. So you're British?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Good.
Here and still here.
Good. And you appear to have a beard.
Yeah, that's very much a lockdown edition. You know that. Yeah, it's the first time in my life I've managed to get past the it's so itchy I want to tear my own face off stage.
Gotcha. Well, there you have it. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. And we've got some great shows coming up. And no, I'm just kidding. It is a very impressive beard. But as you said in your promo, we not only have we known each other for a long time, but we've been in the same trenches, the same industry.
Yeah.
And so we are going to have hopefully a compelling and interesting and informed discussion around automation, around orchestration, and the future of work. So
looking forward to it.
So let's do this. So before we delve into the company that you founded and run right now, Innate, before we get there, I want to back up and I'll set the context here because I want to talk about your schooling, your inspiration, and your journey to becoming an entrepreneur. Before we go there, I want to share a story, I suppose. So some of the smartest people I've ever had the privilege of working with. One guy's named Jim Shand. He was my boss's boss decades ago in my career. One of the smartest guys I've ever had the privilege of working with. Another guy, David Brain, also incredibly, frighteningly smart. And I co-founded a company with him. And you all went to Brunel University. So the question I have is what's in the water at Brunel that creates the likes of you, who is one of the visionaries, one of the thinkers and the market shapers and makers of the intelligent automation space?
So we were really, really lucky. I mean, for those who don't know, Brunel is a university on the edge of London. So when you go there as a kid, you think, great, I'm going to university in London, and then you realise that actually it's not really close enough to London to do any of the fun stuff.
Gotcha.
But what was so good? So I did a manufacturing engineering degree there. Yeah, so I'm a manufacturing engineer by training and a techie and a computer scientist initially by hobby and then by career. But the great thing about my degree and David's degree as well is actually we get to work half the year. So we go to university 6 months of the year, and then we go and work half the year. So you actually get to learn real stuff and go out and put your learning into practice, which is just pretty rare nowadays.
Okay, so there you have it. They accept smart people, give you little or nothing to do while you're in school, and force you to work half the year, and that creates these rock stars that I mentioned that I've had the privilege of knowing, yourself included. So okay, so starting from there, the background of the education that you had, walk us through what you do. How did you end up in? And we've got some other small world stories I'll meander into, but how did you get started that led you to be the entrepreneur and the visionary?
So I think everybody has to start a business that doesn't work, don't they? So let's start there.
Okay.
so I straight out of university, because I thought I'd spent enough time kind of working with other companies while I was at university. I founded a business with a couple of my mates, building software for estate agents, realtors, which we did for a year and a bit, and we learned quite a lot. And then we realised it wasn't going to make us any money, and we really should butt out. So then we all went and had to get proper jobs. So I spent some time as a management consultant, working pretty much exclusively, having kind of landed as a techie. I worked pretty much exclusively in the nascent BPO industry.
Okay.
And that's what consultancies do, isn't it? You hire super bright people, or people like me, and then go, yeah, you can probably do that thing that you've not really done anything of before. So really started to work into the BPO industry, kind of in a role of refereeing contracts, really.
Okay. So and that's funny. I've been sort of making it up as I go along my entire career. So that's the consultant thing. Totally get it. And then BPO is an industry, and you and I both stumbled into that. And actually, sort of I'll drop another sort of fun story here, is that it was, if memory serves, it was like 2011, 2012. And I'm at a BPO in the UK, and there's a guy in the room and talking about technology and his capabilities and how we might work with him. And I thought, wow, how did security let this guy in? No, not that. I thought, wow, he clearly has vision and interesting perspective on things. And that person was you. So we have known each other for 8-10 years now. And it was in the BPO space. So you have been trying to innovate and evolve the BPO space for quite a while. So bring us up to that point then. So and that was an entrepreneurial venture as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So whilst I was a management consultant, you kind of got to see a load of these contracts and recognize that the technology that was being deployed to run them and manage the service was, well, put it this way, could do better. So we founded a company to, as all entrepreneurs do, you go, well, I think we could do that better. Everybody got a version of that. I think we could solve that problem. So we thought, well, let's go and do that. So we founded a company to build software for running BPO services. And we sold it to folks like you back in the day.
Right. Yeah. And so now BPO, again, just like there's something in the water at Brunel, there's something in the water in the BPO industry and in the UK specifically, where we started playing with this concept of what we then started to coin as robots, and using software to supplement not only how we manage contracts or how we just sort of do the plumbing, but how we actually deliver the services.
Yeah.
And so that brings us up to today. So for the last however many years, you founded and are the CEO of Innate. So talk to us about that. What is Innate, and what was your inspiration to founding it?
Yeah, sure. So as we were working with the BPO providers and we were working in that industry, it was in that industry that people really started to play with what we now call robots. And actually starting calling it robotic process automation was almost where what lit the firework.
Yep.
2015 was probably when I first got to see Blue Prism, which is if you saw RPA, then you saw Blue Prism, because that's what it was back in those days.
Right.
And our BPO software business was going fine. It was all was well. But actually, I saw this technology, and I thought, this is a big threat. And then when I thought a bit more, I thought, okay, it's probably a bigger opportunity than it is a threat. The threat when you first looked at RPA back then was that you could see this potentially just eviscerating the BPO industry, just completely cleaning it out, because all of the stuff that well, not all the stuff, the stuff that had been put into the low cost service delivery environments, where so much of it was a version of copy field A from system A into box B in system B.
Right.
All of that we could then potentially automate, even though it was through the Citrix interfaces and stuff like that that everyone was having to work through. So that potential to eviscerate the industry, that's as an entrepreneur, those are the moments that you go, oh, that's something to wake up to. But then there's always that moment you go, okay, what's going to happen then? The thought process that we went through was we said, well, look, right then we saw our existing customers having quite enough difficulty as it was delivering services with an entirely human workforce. Yeah, it was not a walk in the park. I'm sure you'll remember that. Yeah. And so the thought process then was, well, hold on. What are all of the other problems they're then going to get?
Right.
As you start delivering service with a mixture of people and these robots, right. And then potentially when we put our real future thinking boots on, we went, well, actually, probably those robots will start coming from different vendors with different capabilities. It won't just sit in the world of click and copy stuff from here to there.
Right.
You'll start picking up more of the AI capabilities. Now, the AI capabilities have come on much quicker than I thought they would at the time. But nonetheless, that principle of how do you put something into manage service delivery across this combined workforce, and then change the blend over time of human and digital workers,
right?
And augmenting the humans so that they can do good stuff,
right?
Not boring stuff.
Right. So I will stop there and play off the good stuff for a moment and welcome all of the great people who have joined us in this discussion, because that is good stuff. So wanted to welcome to the show David, Gloria, AJ. Hello, as always. Thank you so much for joining. Sanjay from Glasgow, Vince from Fort Lauderdale, Shay from Boston, Barry Matthews from Woodstock. Thank you for joining, Barry. Will Harris from Buckinghamshire, UK, who's not only here, but sharing fun facts about his father-in-law. So that is exciting. Thanks, Will. Apparently, his father-in-law is the head of experimental research at Brunel. So we've got an in.
There's another one.
There we go. Daniel Broadhead, also from London. Hello, Maria from St. Pete, Mary from Clearwater. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please share questions, and I will throw them at Kit. But okay, so let's pick up that theme, because you and I were in the same sort of pond, the same substrate as this was taking shape. You had a BPO industry that was solving problems with people. You had what could be an impending threat, that is, these robots could do anything and everything, and so it could be the end of the industry. But then, as you said, you had the sort of epiphany that mixture and augmentation, really that was going to be the trick, right? It was going to be that these people, maybe some of them were going someplace, but the someplace probably meant more complex work, not gone. And you led the charge on that. So walk me through, and there's a few different words I suppose we'll use in this discussion, and I'll ask you to sort of define as you go. But that orchestration, as you say often when you're talking and on your website, what do you mean by orchestration?
So basically what we mean by orchestration is taking ownership of what resource, whether it's a person or a digital worker, does what work when. Simple as that.
Okay.
Yeah. But most importantly, not getting involved in how. Yeah. Because the how technology is the RPA robots. It's the AI algorithms.
Right.
It's the people. It's what you've trained your people to do. Yeah. So what we're there to do, what orchestration means, is creating that structure and that governance to get the best version of right resource at the right work in the right place at the right time.
Beautiful. So let's talk about those resources for a moment. So humans are human, and we perhaps we're evolving slightly, but we
should stop calling them resources, really, because let's just keep them as people. Yeah.
It's actually I found that so fascinating years and years ago when we started to talk. So we started to have to use the word human, right? I mean, certainly we've had human resources always, but to distinguish that what you're talking about is a human worker versus was just amazing to me. But okay, so you got people. And then you've got different classes of software to do different capabilities. RPA, as you said, the robot in the name, I think helped it take off. It caught a lot of people's attention, certainly allowed us to use all sorts of cheesy clip art. And then there was AI, intelligent automation, cognitive, et cetera. Now, you made the comment that it's changing faster than you thought.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd ask, maybe challenge or ask, which is, in some cases, it feels like marketing and the sort of the hype cycle has made people think it's a whole lot more capable. And so you might be in a position where you're orchestrating something that doesn't even show up to work because it doesn't have the capabilities yet. People just think it does. But then you also said that some of the stuff that's showing up to work is showing up with more skill than you thought they would be able to at this time. So talk to me about sort of the evolution of the maturity and capabilities of these different software tools.
Yeah. So we've, and I think probably the differentiation here is whether it's showing up to work yet. Yeah. So what we've seen is, RPA started in, completely deterministic, rules-based, clicking stuff from one screen to another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The parallel evolution of machine learning and pattern-based machine learning. So if you look at breaking out what people do, how people think into different structures, there's you can ask people to just follow rules and type. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff that you can do with a classical RPA robot. Mm-hmm. You can ask people to use their experience to make decisions. Yeah. Now, that's the kind of stuff that you can do with classical machine learning, and there's always that's been there, and that's really come to a place where, as long as your data structure is good enough now, you can get some pretty good decision making around reasonable data sets and bring that into your end-to-end flow. Yeah. The stuff that I thought was going to take a really long time to get to any kind of meaningful route into business was all of the natural language stuff.
Okay.
And whilst we're not seeing it coming to work yet, so we're not seeing really great deployments at real scale yet. Mm-hmm. It's there in a way that particularly if you look at the stuff that OpenAI and Microsoft have been doing recently, that it's got more sophisticated than I was thinking it would do more quickly. But I'm not at the front of that. Yeah. So I think that's an area where we can expect to be using more of that.
Yes.
In our business more quickly. But the key to that happening is for smart entrepreneurs to make it simple. Yeah. Because I've got a story I tell. So my wife is a doctor for 3 days of the week, and the other 2 days of the week she's a gardener, and she runs a gardening business. And I was on a panel with a bunch of folks a while ago where they were throwing up some data, going, look, all of these big businesses have got AI strategies, but almost none of the SME business has an AI strategy. And my view on that was, well, of course they haven't, because it's not their job to have an AI strategy. But my wife's got an app that she uses with her customers to help them identify plants, which is pure machine learning plant identification. She hasn't got an AI strategy. Yeah, she'd fall over if you told her she had an AI strategy. But somebody's made it simple enough to bring that AI capability into that business process to make it do useful stuff simply.
That's great. I love that story. And it's funny, actually. We moved to a tropical location about 1.5 years ago, and we use probably that exact same app as we're walking through the neighborhood and wondering what plants are in someone else's front yard that we might want to put in ours. Not that plant, although that would be cheaper. But to identify the type of plants, we could go get one like it.
You're strutting around the neighborhood with your spade again. And
that's right. That's right. It's weird the neighbors haven't welcomed me as much as I thought they would. It's so strange. No, but that's a brilliant point, that a holistic end-to-end replatforming of small and medium businesses is probably not a likely scenario, but the point solutions of high-end capabilities is transforming the way that we do a lot of things, from transacting finances to identifying a product in this case.
Yeah, and it's I think that's another lovely example on another level, which is, and it's actually kind of plays into the idea that we kind of bet on, that the digital workforce is going to be diverse.
Right.
So somebody's developed that and has trained that algorithm on plant identification.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And trained it with more and more and more and more and more data. Yeah.
Right.
And the specificity is what wins out. Yeah. If you've trained it on the data set that's closest to the real world that you're dealing with, then you win.
Right.
So it's kind of generalized kind of AI solutions,
right,
are by definition going to be less effective than specific ones that are trained to specific circumstance.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you declare that what you're doing at eNate is helping enterprises really to orchestrate across this hybrid of human and digital workforce. And human, there's really only one particular flavor of humans. It's us. It's humans. Sorry, Cro-Magnons and Neanderthals. And across the digital workforce, you've got a hybrid. It's actually interesting. Barry Matthews asked the question in the feed, which is, does orchestration play an even more important role now that the focus has gone from just a simple type of digital workforce, the RPA robots, and we had other things before that too. We had macros, et cetera, but evolved from just, let's say, for sake of simplicity, just RPA to this more hybridized digital workforce that some are calling hyper automation or intelligent automation. Is orchestration more important now than ever?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's move on to the next. No, just keep going.
Because as you get that diversification, you get a greater need, and the reality still remains, though, that even in the most automated environments with this type of digital worker, you're still at 70-80% human and 30% digital. So while loads of the automation vendors will quite happily spin around words like put a human in the loop and stuff like that, the reality is the digital worker occasionally appears in the loop at the moment, rather than the other way around.
Right.
Yeah. So that blend is really important. And actually over the last year, yes, we've seen the diversity of the digital workforce continue to grow, and continue to live in a world where you don't get a network effect from having everything from the same vendor.
Right.
But with COVID, we've seen a real focus back on humanity. Yeah. On how do we get work and activity happening simply and smoothly across a workforce that doesn't look like it used to look.
Right. So this the COVID caveat in every discussion about every topic, but do you think COVID accelerated this diversification of the digital workforce? And you said there's more of an emphasis back on people, totally agree. part of it's just out of sheer empathy and sort of us coming together as humans to support each other. But a lot of people say there's sort of that X in Y, right? We've advanced 1 year in 3 months sort of thing, or 10 years in 10 weeks. Have you seen an acceleration in the digital toolkit and sort of resources that you can tap into to orchestrate?
Yes, to a degree, and in businesses that know which way is up at the moment. Yeah. So there are definitely bunches of our customers and businesses that we talk to that are going through the full gamut of what's happening next week, what's happening the week after, how are we getting from A to B.
Right.
Unquestionably, everybody pretty much that you talk to has got a version of, oh crikey, it would have been a lot easier if we'd have been a bit more digital before this all happened.
Right.
Yeah. And that remains as a spur. We've definitely seen necessity be the mother of all invention in quite a lot of our customer base and in lots of businesses that we talk to. That unshackling of innovation, that actually, from the stuff that I'm talking to people about at the moment, that seems to have clamped down a bit again now. So there was this great busting through of the rules early on. Yeah, and I posted something at the start of the pandemic saying, it is a time to work out what rules you really need to stick to and which ones you're going to let pass. Yeah.
Sort of the innovation triage, if you will. Stick to the things that matter and be a little looser on the rest. Yeah,
because that's how innovation happens. Yeah, innovation is just structured failure. Yeah,
love it. Interesting.
That's all it is. Yeah, If you're not failing, you're not innovating. Yeah, right. You're just doing stuff that everybody knows about. Yeah,
that's fine. Okay, so let's unpack. I love the phrase unpack. I also love the phrase double click. So I shall unpack then double click what you just said. So innovation is structured failure. You in the role you play, in sort of the front row seat you have to enterprises examining the types of digital workforce they can bring on board to their team, and then your sort of advice and help in orchestrating them. There have been technologies that have sort of flared and burned out in our industry. Are enterprises still innovating, still trying new ones, and what's the future hold for the speed at which we're able to sort of test new technologies, see if voice recognition works, see if sentiment analysis works, see if chatbots, cobots, augmenting whatever bots works. What does that look like going forward as we come out of the COVID era and into some next gen?
Yeah. So there are a few things that are absolutely at play in that. So the ability to innovate with cloud technology and just plug different technologies together. Okay. Yeah. Whether it's innate sitting in the cloud, orchestrating, a chatbot sitting in the cloud, but then an RPA bot sitting on premise, that kind of structure. Yeah. The ability to do that across things that are running in the cloud just helps us innovate more quickly. Yeah. Helps everybody innovate more quickly. Yeah. As soon as, and that has unquestionably been something that we've seen over the last months is, organizations that previously had sort of a version of tissue rejection to putting something on a SaaS platform. Guess what? Not a problem anymore, or yes. Much less of a problem at the very least. Yeah. So that allows us to speed up innovation. Yeah. The thing that the best organizations that we're working with, and two of our customers, EY and TMF, are both really good examples of this. They are creating environments, very deliberately creating environments in which everybody in the business can do stuff fast and fail on it if they need to. Yeah. And that cultural shift is key to businesses and to any organization being able to innovate quickly. Yeah, back to that. Yeah, at university and doing work 6 months a year. I was super lucky that I was sponsored at university by 3M.
Okay.
So I got to work for 3M 6 months every year, and 3M, famously has that approach of allow people to innovate, allow people the time to innovate, and believing that there is both serendipity, failure, and extraordinary success that comes through all of that.
Right. No, that's brilliant. And see, I knew there was a reason I brought up your education. In addition to it being impressive, it was a useful reference. I'm going to try to kill two birds with one stone, two questions, because I think it plays to where you've gone now. So Celestine has written, we've been talking about orchestration and human in the loop for a while. And do you think there's enough collaboration between the two in the existing RPA platforms? So enough opportunity for that collaboration. But Sanjay then asks, considering the inherent security threats of business process automation via RPA and AI tools, if not done well, what security aspects do you propose your clients consider? And so is collaboration happening enough? And is there a security element? And I'll start it all by saying, did you just describe citizen development by discussing how some of your clients, the ones that have been successful, are giving individuals the ability to apply this stuff? And if yes to citizen development, then is the collaboration enabling it? And is there an inherent security risk in letting anyone and everyone play with this stuff?
Okay.
Go.
So that's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
So is there enough collaboration in the existing platforms? Blunt answer to that is no. All of the if we just take the RPA platforms as kind of one corner for now, all of those platforms essentially come with, here are our robots, and you can stick some people on the side.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go into any real business with real people and real bots doing real work in it, you will find that there are vastly more people than there are bots. So really having the emphasis on actually how do we get across this organization and orchestrate this organization, allowing the bots to come into it at pace, rather than thinking, we got these bots, let's glue a few people around them. That's that's the blunt answer to, is there enough collaboration? How do we look at security is always a fascinating topic. And Cheltenham, where I'm coming to you from, is for those who don't know, in the US, Cheltenham is the home of the UK equivalent of the NSA, GCHQ as we call it. So basically half the kids, half the parents of my kids' friends at primary school are all spies, and it's one of those things where it's very easy to get worried about that. And it's very easy to get too worried about it. Like, that is not me belittling the need for security. Sure. But it is me saying, make sure you're making some deliberate decisions about what you want to be secure. Because there are aspects of security where openness is the best approach to security. So just think really carefully about that. And there are other aspects to it that have been brought fabulously forward by GDPR and things like that in Europe, which in one corner everybody thinks is a real pain in the butt. Right. But in another corner, it's something that, as a citizen, you go, look, it's just a way of saying, all you big corporate behemoths, don't store too much stuff about me. Or if you're going to store stuff about me, do it really well.
Be smart. Yep.
So, and the citizen development angle to that is, as long as you've got enough control in your orchestration environment of quality to understand where people are doing stuff wrong and put a stop to it quickly, yeah, then you can still safely create an environment of citizen development innovation, but within that well orchestrated and controlled structure, yeah, where you can actually see what's going on, and if stuff is now falling down into a black hole,
Right.
yeah. If you're trying to do that in an unorchestrated environment, then you end up with a nightmare because you can't see what's going on properly from end to end. Yeah.
Yep. That's beautiful. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and I congratulate you, sir, for using it. So let's wrap up. Last question for you is, because as you so well said, orchestration is imperative to making the most of these technologies, applying them safely, and really creating the greatest impact in enterprises. What's next for you and for Innate?
So for us, we got our Series A fundraising away right in the middle of lockdown, which was, it meant that our PR launched into just complete silence.
But congratulations! I mean, hard to do at any time, and good for you for landing the Series A.
So right now we're all about working with our customers to really scale their deployments of Innate and really go big with transformative change around digital automation and intelligent automation. I think what's so exciting, and what we're particularly starting to do by working with big service providers, is getting clients beyond doing little itty bitty bits of point automation,
right,
to doing large scale transformative change. So yeah, one of our customers, TMF, was with orchestration and intelligent automation and some really smart business change consultants, was able to go, we're going to deploy all of this new technology and operating model change, and we're going to roll it out across 86 countries, across 4 service lines and 40,000 customers, all of whom have got a little subtly different service.
Right.
But by parceling the deployment of that down to everybody really close to where the decisions need to be made, yeah, and getting smart on what simplicity meant for them, they're able to make massive change to the business really, really quickly.
Tremendous. And that's great.
More of that big scale is where we're at.
Outstanding. Well, Kit, thank you so much for our friendship over the last decade, and for staying in the loop and keeping me informed of all the different innovation transformation that's happening. As you said, good luck with enabling large scale transformation. So if anybody wants to have a discussion with an absolute expert and visionary in the space, Kit's your guy. If you want a doctor or to identify a plant, Kit's wife is your person. And if you need to find a spy for any reason, Kit apparently is well connected in that network too. So much we've learned about you. But again, congratulations on the A round. Congratulations on Innate success. Congratulations for helping really game change and evolve this digital transformation space to a place where enterprises are doing more than, as you said, more than just sort of random acts of automation, but coordinating it, orchestrating it, and augmenting their people and truly transforming. So with that, thank you everybody who joined. Thanks for all the great questions on the feed. It was spectacular participation. And Kit, again, thanks so much for joining me on OneTAKE.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, everyone.